dealt with the most amount of villains, but also bring hope and safety wherever you go. Enji Todoroki, or the Flame Hero Endeavor, is the #2 hero in all of Japan, and he got this way through sheer effort and motivation to do the absolute best, to become the absolute best. This burning desire, mixed with his amazing quirk and high intelligence, allowed him to tally up the most resolved criminal cases in all of history. And even though his solved cases rating was much higher than All Might's, it was All Might's natural charisma that elevated him above Endeavor. This is because All Might was the people's symbol of peace. So much so that Endeavor couldn't even enjoy when he got what he wanted, when All Might was forced to retire and he became the #1 hero. Because Endeavor was both angry at the fact that All Might's persona was a fraud, and that the man he was struggling to even keep up with was just a normal person, but also he felt like he didn't earn his new #1 position. Though there was one more issue sticking in the back of Endeavor's mind. He was worried that he would not be able to live up to the title of Symbol of Peace that All Might left behind. This is because when Endeavor was only 20 years old, he reached the #2 spot. This amazing climb up the hero leaderboard was most likely the reason why Enji Todoroki went with the name Flame Hero Endeavor, as the name Endeavor means great effort or an attempt to achieve a goal. And this goal or endeavor that Enji had set out for himself was to be the #1 hero. And not only for the title, but to know that he is the best, as he stated that if he only cared about titles, then he would have been fine with #2. But once he made it to the #2 spot is when he realized how impossible of a task it would be to climb to #1. This leaves Enji, the Flame Hero, to be stuck in his own permanent, never-ending endeavor. And because of this, he found himself spiraling further and further into a state of depression. Because even though he could beat All Might's numbers, he can never climb higher than All Might popularity-wise. So that means that everything he worked for was for nothing, because he could never be recognized as the greatest. He was limited by his own personality and his quirk. He knew that he couldn't become #1. But he might be able to create something that does. Because Enji knew that complete power over one specific element is an amazingly powerful quirk. And not to mention Enji's own amazing stamina when it comes to his own quirk, as he's able to use it almost completely naturally. Maybe if he had an offspring with the perfect blend of his power and his stamina with another elemental quirk, that kid could possibly surpass All Might in the end. So with that on his mind, Endeavor decided to invest into a quirk marriage to achieve his life goal through one of his future children. Endeavor used the money and fame that he acquired being the #2 hero to buy out his soon-to-be wife's family. He did so he could force her into a quirk marriage and use her to create an offspring with an unbeatable power. Though this method did take some time, and he had roughly 3 children before he created his masterpiece, Shoto Todoroki. Now, to him, the victory over All Might was so close in his sights that he actually became completely blind to his horrible actions, because in raising Shoto, he wasn't the best. He physically abused Shoto during their training, isolated Shoto from the rest of his family, and of course, abused his wife to the point that she needed to be put into an asylum after throwing boiling water onto Shoto. He does later in the series show signs of regret for these horrible actions, almost blaming his own obsession with wanting to be #1 for it, but at that time it was a little too late, because these actions led to his own son hating him and actively refusing to be part of his vision. Just like when Endeavor was climbing to the top, everything he was working for is now for naught, as his son Shoto refuses to use his father's quirk, and only after being helped by All Might and Deku does Endeavor ever get a chance to reconnect with his son. As when Shoto chooses to work with the Endeavor Hero Agency, it allows Endeavor to begin to realize how much he actually cares about his son as a person and not as a tool. And even though the damage might already be too drastic to fix, Endeavor still tries, and this is shown in a few moments where he appears to try to be rekindling their relationship. Moments such as on their first day of fieldwork, Endeavor is really excited to show his son what he can do, but when Shoto leaves to go help his friends in need, Endeavor is shown what the true level of importance he is to his son, and this causes Endeavor to feel heartbroken and angry to the point that he takes his frustration out on the Nomus, and this makes him sloppy enough that the flying Nomu almost gets away. This scene itself is also given great meaning by his character theme playing in the background while it happens. Then of course, when Shoto goes to retake his license exam, Endeavor actively clears his calendar to make sure he makes it to the event, calling up Shoto and telling him that he'll be there, only for Shoto to hang up on him mid-sentence. Then when he's there, he actually has a sit-down talk with All Might Might and thanks him for the opportunity to get closer to his son again. Endeavor also mentions in this conversation that he has given everything to Shoto, which means that not only did he give Shoto his quirk and his bloodline, but he's also probably willing to give up his company to his son when the right time comes. And finally, when All Might tells Endeavor, to be a symbol of peace, you must find your own way, Endeavor's next action is to yell out and cheer on his son. Shoto is the motivation that Endeavor needs to create a symbol of peace, something that people can look towards. It won't be him, he knows that, but maybe they can look towards his son. Though why would Endeavor even need to be a symbol of peace like All Might? Well, to put it simply, when All Might retired, Endeavor inherited not only the title of #1, but the world had changed. Endeavor figured this out pretty quickly actually, because no matter how much crime he was stopping, the crime rate was still increasing rapidly, because no one could see Endeavor as the role of #1 or as the role of the symbol of peace. And this is shown in every time he shows up in the series actually. People are surprised to see him when he makes an appearance at the UA tournament. People ask questions why he's here when the Nomus are attacking. And of course, when he shows up to the license exam, you have people calling out in surprise going, "Oh my god, it's the #2," and then correcting, "Oh my god, it's the #1 hero." The world doesn't accept Endeavor as #1. It doesn't accept him as the symbol of peace because of the person who he was and is. This is because in the years and years of Endeavor climbing to the top, he lost touch with reality in a sense. Endeavor doesn't know what it's like to be a normal person, and this is reflected in both his personality and his design. You notice something about Endeavor is that he never really deactivates his power. He's always using his quirk, even if it's in some small subtle way, like his flame beard. He even does so among his family, where he doesn't even need to keep his guard up. He does so as a display of power, and because he can't separate his hero life from his everyday life. So much so that Endeavor spends most of his time at work than at home. So having his quirk constantly activated just becomes natural at some point. Then of course you have all the ideas of his design and personality and more found in Endeavor's character theme called Just Another Hero, a song that details the life of Endeavor and goes into detail about a man who dedicates his entire life to being a hero to the point that he loses touch with anything that isn't about being a hero. The ideas of losing touch with reality is reflected in the lyrics such as, "How do I live? How do I dream? Sometimes I want to sing the blues. I must tighten my rein, but it's hard to obey. You know I'm not perfect enough. How do I grieve? How do I scream? I just want to be that guy. Yes, I'm still overwhelmed, but there's no time for rest." These ideas reflect someone who is overwhelmed by the idea of being a hero, that they don't really understand regular emotions like, how do I live and how do I dream? How do I grieve and how do I scream? I'm a hero, that's all I know. And then the song goes also into describing the brutal training that Endeavor went through to get to the point where he is now, with lyrics such as, "I was a dropout, a coward, sick and tired of my weakness. The more I buck for power, the more broken, the more frightened. But that's the time I must be strong. Why I damage myself again and again, so simply, for the victims of sorrow, I'll be the man even if I'm just another hero." These lyrics talk about his rise to power, how he will become stronger than what he was originally before. Then there's also more details hidden into the song that are just like small, nice little details, such as, "I am the heir to the cup, ain't no stroke of luck." This reflects Endeavor being the one who will inherit All Might's position when he inevitably disappears. Not because of some stroke of luck, of him luckily being the person who will replace All Might, but in him earning his way to the #2 spot, he will then inherit the #1 spot. And then you also have, "I don't hide myself in regret, I face my silhouette. I am the most passionate, it's my identity." This is Endeavor not hiding behind some sort of mask and embracing himself as a hero. As you see, he's always wearing his flaming beard. He's never hiding who he is. He is a hero in both real life and on duty, because Endeavor's entire identity is being that hero, and he doesn't know anything else. He doesn't know any other way of life. So that's a lot of the character song that I just really love about Endeavor. But of course, all of this is encapsulated in the fact that the song is all about this, and it ends with, "I'm just another hero," which is perfect for Endeavor, because no matter how much he struggles, no matter how much he fights, no matter how hard he fights to the top, no matter if he even inherits the #1 position, no one will ever see him as the symbol of peace. Endeavor will never be the truly #1 hero, because he's just another hero. But hopefully he can help his son become a symbol of peace. And if you enjoyed this video and want to support more videos like it, I have a Patreon over at patreon.com/MettyNotTheBadGuy. And if you want to become a true hero amongst heroes and rise above everything and become a symbol of love and peace in the entire world, You can head on over to funimation.com/show/Shumineta Boring World with Custom Dirty Jokes and Exist, or you can head over to Amazon.com and look up Shumineta.Boring World and buy a copy. Do it now. Also buy like the first season of Hero Macadamia Nut.